Wilson, Senator Mackenzie.
Thank you very much. On the 31st of August this year, you advised, and I quote, that Airservices Australia will adopt all recommendations in the recently released Brisbane New Parallel Runway Flight Path Post-Implementation Review. So what budget and resources are required and have been allocated to each of the 4 proposed work packages, and over what time frame?
So I'll ask Mr Curran to provide the detail, but that...
we are short of time.
Then I'll pass straight to Mr Curran.
Thank you.
Senator, the current planning to stand up a project office over the next will be 2 to 3 years is underway, so I don't have a precise budget number for you at this point in time. We'll be working...
So has that already been stood up, that group?
The project management office we're planning to stand up in the course of next month before Christmas. We're planning to complete the post-implementation review report and publish it not later than the 15th of December.
So how are you going to resource the additional work required to adopt and implement all the recommendations?
So we'll be resourcing that through our normal process of standing up a project and bringing in subject matter expertise.
So how many additional staff?
Not determined yet, but order of magnitude, it would be less than 10, I would think.
Right. I'll have some more questions on notice for that. In terms of the community workshops held in various Brisbane locations between the 10th and 15th of September, some attendees said they only found out about that by word of mouth or from obviously local community action groups. So what official communication promotion mechanisms were used to inform local communities of these workshops?
Senator, there was a range of media used, like local media, local newspaper.
Is there a local newspaper?
Across Brisbane, we
so the Courier
use
Mail?
Print. I can't confirm that it was the Courier Mail or not. So there was a number of letterbox drops that were undertaken also throughout Brisbane.
So just maybe on notice, because it doesn't seem we have the detail here today, do we, Mr Curran?
I've got some detail, but perhaps not sufficient.
No, I don't think so. So I would like to know what marketing, promotion and communication was for those 10th to 15th of September workshops, because my feedback is unless you knew somebody that was in the know, you didn't know it was on. What budget and resources have been allocated and spent on advertising and promoting the community workshops?
I'll take that on notice.
Do you have
Senator.
that detail?
No, I don't have the number for that, Senator.
It's Senate estimates. We like to know how much you spend on things. So on detail then, I want all ad copies placed in print, radio, TV or digital media channels and how much money was spent on all of those. Is it the case that you only advertise these workshops on your registration-only Engage website?
No, Senator, that's not the case, but I'll take that on notice with the other two questions you've asked me to take on notice.
So in Senate estimates in March last year, you referred to flight path design as your, and I quote, bread and butter. Why did you fail to implement any of the TRAC's recommendation for noise mitigation and abatements when the new airspace was launched on the 12th of July 2020?
So, Senator, is that the TRAC's international report was done post that implementation, and it was looking at what had occurred and what the effects were, and those recommendations that came out of the TRAC's report have been informing our post-implementation review. So it's sort of, the TRAC's report came after the implementation.
And has the TRAC's report changed your views or practice?
Yes, it has.
How?
In the sense that those recommendations were all accepted. So TRACs were brought in as an independent review from our normal way of doing things. They came up with the report that came out with the recommendations from your previous question that said on the 31st of August that we accepted all those recommendations. Those recommendations are then fed into the post-implementation review. That post-implementation review's final report will come out on the 15th of December. And so that is shaped...
And it'll be implemented over years.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's the implementation for just Brisbane, but the adoption of the principles that came out are affecting all of our flight path design going forward, whether it's for Western Sydney Airport, Melbourne's new runway, Perth's new runway, etc.
Can I just ask how many complaints your team has received between the 12th of July 2020 and now about the aircraft noise at Brisbane Airport?
Senator, I haven't got the data cut exactly like that, but I can give you a sense of the number.
How have you cut the data?
I have. It's aggregate. It would be in the order, Senator. If I could say, it would be in the order of. I can give it to you by month. Would that be preferable?
Sorry, I
I
can't.
can give it to you by month since July. I just would have to add them up.
2020.
Yep, sure,
beg your
go
pardon.
for it.
Sorry, Senator, perhaps I misheard the question. Did you say since 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
12th of July 2020.
Okay, I haven't got it specifically since the 12th of July 2020. It would be in the order of several thousand, and I can provide the specific answer to that question on notice.
Okay, well, I know another Senator, Senator Allman Payne, has some questions, but I've still got questions for Airservices Australia.